It's not rocket science, and it should be known that not everybody was born to be an entrepreneur. Uh, the entrepreneur phenomenon is so closely linked to politics that you can't even consider it business. So I just want to make it clear, not everyone can be an entrepreneur, because everybody is striving for that so-called self-made, self-paid, and all of that stuff. It's not for everybody. It is bringing this culture of greed, or maybe the culture of greed already existed, but now it's being brought to the forefront. You know, if you have a wonderful family, people that love each other, and a stranger comes in and does all sorts of things, and in the end the family sort of breaks apart, it's not the same anymore. That is also corruption. That person corrupted a good family and good people. When an innocent child is forced into criminal activities, to become a gangster, to become a career criminal, that is corruption. That person, that young person, or whoever is desperate enough is being corrupted, right? So corruption doesn't end with the government. There is social corruption, community corruption, and now I see it's floating around greed. Everybody wants money. How do we get money? Where does the money come from? I mean, you can tell from how many self-guide books people read, just because they think they are entrepreneurs, but don't have the skill. It is a skill set. It does get molded. It takes a certain type of tenacity to be a great entrepreneur. Businesses like selling things on a market or so forth, those aren't entrepreneurs. Those are people that are trying to make a living. An entrepreneur can come into the forefold and sort of change a few things, make it more efficient, and just make sure that the people benefit working together alongside their entrepreneur. I don't care what title it will be, CEO or CFO, all of that, it doesn't matter. But at the end of the day, not everybody is meant to be an entrepreneur or a business person. It does require an innate skill. And this thing about money corrupting politics, that's what it's doing. The need for money is corrupting politics, because politics becomes guided by money. A country can't run without money, that's obvious, but it should not be run by money. Imagine all the problems that are there: gender-based violence, childhood abuse, rape, and people come from those type of situations bitter, and somehow blame it on the economics, on the economy. I don't know, they ride in with their unicorn, maybe the unicorn with wings, because that doesn't make sense to me. There is a sense of funding. People can self-fund. As long as they have the right leader, they can self-sustain. But if everybody wants to be the leader, even those that are incapable, that's corruption too. To have a leader that doesn't understand leadership and doesn't evolve as they are in power, that is corruption. Just like a house being dilapidated, that is corruption. So the way we look at corruption is based on the old age, and it should change today, because in the Middle East was corrupted. Now there are war zones. This could be by individuals who have interest, warlords and gun traffickers, smugglers, you name them. It's that slumdog life. The slums where you do one criminal in that society decides whatever it takes. They're definitely going to control the people, rule the people, and so forth. So as we look at our leaders and as we scrutinize, understanding what you're scrutinizing is important. Based on personalities, personal attacks in a conversation of politics means you have absolutely no right to even open your mouth. You should listen and learn. That's what we have today. People think government change will change society. That is not the case. Community change, social change, changes the government. And it's very tragic that everybody is out for money. Why? Because of material things. While our roots are based on self-sustainability. So as some take loopholes, as some find other ways, other means, if we are not harming others, then why do these strangers attack us and don't expect recoil? I'm not being a brat here and just saying things, but what I'm saying is not every agenda is tied to politics. When that happens, you have corruption. The government is a body of accountability. That's why laws get passed by government, or laws get written out by governments. So corruption comes in many forms, and you should seek it out. In my life, what do I want? What do I really want? Figure that out, go with that, and then go to after the money or whatever else after. When you have identified your purpose, or mostly something that you are at peace with doing, because most people get stressed doing things that they don't want to do. And there's an answer out there that says, well, whether you like your job or not, make it work. And people want to escape this by being business people, making money on their own or making money on the side. This is backward planning, because what you want is to set up a channel, an infrastructure that leads to people having purpose. When all these people have purpose, then the other thing is more reachable. Financial stability does not only depend on entrepreneurship and business. It depends on the people. It depends on opportunity. There is no opportunity. If there is no opportunity building, or if opportunity is seen as a threat, or creating opportunities, taking opportunities, finding something, some way, then that is a misguided front. Because behaving, or reacting out of anger, means you don't know what you're doing. You're merely frustrated. It can be frustration due to friends, or you can have people that know something about you that you don't want them to find out. It can be a whole different different things that force people. And especially today, because we are a pre-colonial country, or they are pre-colonial countries, they have this sense of fighting, always fighting to get this, fighting to get that. And there's this sense of hard work. Hard work doesn't necessarily add value, and it's inevitable that things are going to change, and a lot of jobs will become redundant. It's inevitable. But instead of being afraid and putting up speed humps, people should actually try and be mentored and learn those skills. You cannot have a government, a country that defines itself through its government only, or who's leading them. You cannot. So I just want to sort of define corruption, and there are many other forms of corruption. But even gender equality, there's corruption there. There are many other things that I can point at, and I can specify why gender inequality is corruption. It's corruption because it corrodes success, the success of women, ladies, and so forth. And if it's corroding their success, then it's corroding whatever corporation or institution that is there from expansion. right? So it becomes corruption that is acceptable, um, because it hasn't been given a proper name. I don't think gender inequality is the right word for the pay gap between men and women. And I just do not want people to think music and maybe sports, and I'll give you an example of the sports, the United States sports, where the women were suing for equal pay. you know be reasonable now. Most people watch male soccer, including women. Most endorsements go to men. So basically, they make more money as individuals compared to their female peers. So fixing that type of gender gap is actually getting people interested in female soccer, and it will fix itself. Some things work like that. To enforce that particular institution or so forth, to force it, that is corrupting it, right? To force it, is an injustice. So it's corruption. It's one bad apple infecting all the rest. And how do you cure corruption? You understand that. Remove your mind from money. Don't think that money solves everything, or that money is the only way towards what and what and what. Money is something that can come afterwards, after you are established, after you establish yourself. But if you're not established, then you'll go for whatever it is that gets you money. Okay. So the corruption that I spoke about in the UN, a lot of things were brought to the forefront. We looked at it. Now it's about security. People need to feel secure. It's not only physical security, but also emotional security. And emotional security is almost the most important one, because it's the do or don't. So let's reconsider, evaluate, talk about what we think is corruption, and look at the facts based on historical mistakes, historical triumph, and personal planning to go ahead. Peace out. Salute.